recording. Yeah.
Yeah, started.
Okay, so our first problem today is we have to construct a binary tree from the pre-order and post-order traversal. So return any binary tree that matches the given pre-order and post-order, and values in the pre and post are distinct positive integers. Yeah. So here, like, I mean, this would be the root, right? Pre-order, I mean, this would be root.
Yeah.
And recursively then we can, but with a pre and post we can't get a unique tree, right? One in order should be there, isn't it? There could be multiple answers, right?
Okay.
How can it be? Because see, we know with the pre-order, so the root starts at the very beginning, correct?
Yeah.
But in actually post-order, the root will be at the end.
And yeah.
Right. So in this case, if you check the first one, okay, the root at the pre-order at the beginning and post-order it is at also
Last.
at the end, correct?
Yeah.
If you go to the root 2 in the pre-order, right? So if you
Yeah.
look at the 2 in the post-order, it is not at immediately last second.
Yeah.
No.
So
Yeah.
that is the left part, right?
Yeah.
So in
Yeah.
the post order we have left, right, root. So the left subtree is 452.
Yeah. So 4, 5, and then 2. Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, this is the left one till here, and this is the right one.
Hmm.
So we have to call this accordingly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that way we can actually divide it. Right. And then again, when we are in 4, 5, 2, which is the left side, we need to find what is the root. So we can take the help of pre. So in that case, if you have 2, 4, 5, right? So we know 2 is ahead of 4 and 5. So 2 will be the root. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Then 4 and 5 both are actually at the left side of 2 in this case.
Yeah.
And then again we come to 4 and 5. In that case, 4 is again the root and 5 will be to the left of, no, 5 will be to the right of 4. Correct in this case.
Yeah.
Okay. So if we try to break this down recursively, the first element of the pre-order would be the root, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now I'm trying to build the left subtree. So for the left subtree, I have to pass. Okay, I can simply iterate in the pre, like I can simply move to 2 because that is the root of my left subtree. And for the post order, I will have to pass from behind, right? So I would be passing 452 673. Is it that way?
Yeah, that is correct, right? So you'll form 2 subtrees.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Answer won't be unique, I think, right? It depends on what way he is going. There could be multiple answers if a pre-order and post-order is given. Only if in order is there, then only with one in order and pre or post you can have a unique tree structure.
Well,
Multiple
but
answer, yeah. There exist
then you
multiple.
will have multiple solutions also, right?
Yeah,
So,
got it.
but that is not the case, correct?
Yeah.
The only thing what I'll think about is you can still create left and right, okay, but only on the right side you will have to be actually when you are at the, I think at the post side, okay, so always you will have to consider the extreme end will be your root. So your last one will always be your root. So you'll have to ignore that. So and then take 4, 5, 2, 6, 3, 1 as your subtree, right? The whole of subtree, which is actually rooted from 1. So then the
Yeah.
question comes how we decide, how we break that, right? So for that, you'll have to go in the pre and find the next root. So that will be 2 in that case, and that will be the only way we can divide the whole tree in that case, right?
Two parts,
Yeah.
yeah.
So we
So
know
essentially, okay. So the left of 1 is 3, right?
left of
In the
Yeah.
post order. So this
uh,
is a part of my right subtree, right?
hmm,
Okay. So now if I try to build the left tree, I'll have to pass this part, right? 2, 4, 5,
hmm,
right?
Yeah.
So I would look for this element 3 in my pre-order.
hmm,
Okay. And then I would pass the array from I plus 1, like which from 2
hmm.
till the element to the left of 3. So this 2, 4, 5. This would give the left subtree.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So
Can we do we have a constraint that we have only unique numbers? How do you divide? Based on equals, yeah?
But does that matter actually? I'm not sure though. But yeah, in that case, if you have duplicates, then it might be a problem, right?
Mhm. How can tree node have duplicate values?
it is given that they are distinct.
They are
Oh, they,
distinct, yeah.
yeah, they
Yeah,
are
but
given.
if it is duplicate, then surely it might have more, what you say, order. It won't be a single way. It can be represented in multiple ways, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like now going on, I mean we have 1, okay, and we have 2. So now I would look for which one? Will it be 7 or because 7 is not there, right? So I have to look for, I mean, this part. So post order is a bit confusing.
Mm,
So if you look for one, so you have divided into 4, 5, 2, and then you have 2, 4, 5. So that whole is a left subtree.
subtree.
Now, if you look at the post side, the right subtree is 6, 7, 3. Okay. And if you compare those three coordinates, 6, 7, 3 in your pre-order, they are 3, 6, 7. So 3 should be your right subtree's root. So
Right.
from 1, you will have a root which is 3, and then 6 and 7 will be its um,
Left, right side.
children's, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And in that case, again, if you go deep, so you can actually look that after 3, you have 6 and 7 in the post order, and also you have 6 and 7 in uh, the pre-order. So if you see again, 6 can be the left because it might be a root. So if it is 6, if you try to find on the 6 left side, there is none. Okay. So then you can treat that as a right subtree of 3, right?
Yeah.
And then again, that way, if you look at 6 is another root, so you are left with only 7. So 7 might be, yeah, because 7 actually can be on the right or left, right? Yeah.
Right.
Those things might be, yeah.
Which are-
It might have a different implementation, right? Yeah,
Right.
I don't know, but yeah.
Had they given BST, it would have been easier. Like we could have got the in order out of that, and then
But actually, see, if you look at, if even if you try to have a different order, or more number of ways. So I was playing on some test cases, and it was always giving me different results, and it was not accepting my answer. So
Mhm.
if
Okay.
I think there is only one way to do it. That is what my thoughts. I might be wrong,
yeah.
but because you see in the output in your lead code also console, you find some nulls also in sometimes in between. Here they don't show it. At least in the example they have not shown, but it is
Yeah.
only single way to represent.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what I think. Yeah.
So if we try to build the right subtree first, then does it make more sense? Like you build your 1, okay, then you look for the element to the left of 1 in post order, which is 3. Now you look for the 3. So it is this part, right? So 3, 6, 7, and you keep this for the left traversal. Okay. So So now you move to 3, you make this 3. Okay. So now you move one step left in the post order, it is 7. So you build this 7. Okay. Now when you come back to, I mean, you made a call to 7. Okay. Now you come back to 3. So you had your left here, this 6. Okay. So you make this 6. Now you are done with this part. You're done with 3, 6, 7. Now when you move back to 1, okay, now by the time you'll also be, you have also moved from 3 to, like you move from 3 to 7, then 7 to 3 in your post order. You are simply moving one step behind. So now you are at 2 in your post order. Okay. So you are at 2 in your post order. Now, and also you are trying to build the left subtree now. So you will make this 2. Okay.
Okay.
Now you move one step behind in your post order. You see a 5. Okay. So this is what that 5 is. Now you will make a call for this 5, like this one. You make this 5. Okay. Now you come back to 2. You try to make the left subtree of 2, which is 4. Now simultaneously you will be at this point in your post order. Now you will make this node 4. Okay. So you are done with the left part also. Now you come back at this one, and this is the route we have.
Yeah,
Does that make sense?
yeah, that is correct actually. See, so at every stage, like if you go to the way we divide, and as you are showing also, when we take 1 as a subtree, we actually try to find that, and then we cannot actually, we will see that 1 be the root for sure, and then all of that other 4, 5, 6, 2, 6, 7, 3, which is in the post order, which will be a subtree which is rooted from 1, right? So then
Yeah.
how do we divide that? For that, you will always have to refer the node in the pre-order. So then you go to 2. When you go to 2, anyway, you have to divide it to left and right subtree. So the first root what we find, okay, in the pre-order, that actually defines you the way you have to divide it. Right. So when you see a 2, then you actually go and look for 2. So everything towards the left from that 2 will be in the left subtree, right? So that is the only way we can divide. So you'll have to look in the post order, I mean. So when you look for the 2, which is the next root in the pre-order, so you are not sure whether it is the real root or it is the left subtree, right? So for that, you'll have to look in the post order. So from that onwards, from that 2 onwards to all the values in the left, to the all values on the left of it, which is 4, 5, 2, they will all be a part of a left subtree. Similarly, you can make a division in the for the right subtree, which will be 6, 7, 3. Correct. So then the recursive way, what you are showing, will actually keep on doing the same thing over and over again, and then you will get this tree.
Yeah. So
Right.
I was building the right subtree first, because then I don't have to worry about the post order. I was simply moving one step backward every time.
Well, yeah, but you still have to look for the pre-order, because that will give you the way how you can divide the post order into 2 parts.
I think I am doing the reverse way. So when I'm at 1,
Mm-hmm.
okay, so I look for okay. So when I'm at 1, I make this node 1.
Mm-hmm.
Now I move one step to the left in my post order. So that is a 3. Okay. So now I look for this 3 in my pre-order. So essentially what this means is that anything ahead of 3 till my last index would be a part of my right subtree. So now I will try to make the right subtree first. So I will get this part 3, 6, 7. Now when I come back to 1, I know where my left starts from. That is just one index ahead, and now where it ends, 1 index behind of 3. So this is the left subtree now. Okay, so meanwhile I was making my right subtree. I had moved from 3 to 7, 7 to 6. So now I'm at the right position in my post order also. I'm at 2. Now I start making my left subtree, which is from 2, and it will go till 5. So every time my post order gives me the value which is to be made.
Mhm. Yeah, I think
I'm
that
like
also
going
makes
back from,
sense, right? Yeah,
yeah.
that also should work fine, I think. Should not be because anyway, if you take a reference, whatever is in the pre-order, along with that, you try to find in the post order. Yeah, completely start from post order, you said, right? And then you
Yeah.
only look for the pre-order from where you want to find the right subtree. Correct. So because in the post order, first you have one that you know it's the root, but then when you come to three, so you look for the location of three in the pre-order, right? And from three you go all the way to the right. So 367, you will say that this all 367 form a right subtree, which is rooted at one. Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think both are almost the same, because either you look in the pre-order or you look in the post order. So when you look for an index in the post order, so you'll have to find how to divide it looking at the pre-order. But if you look for an index in the pre-order, then how to divide into left and subtree, right subtree, for that you will have to go to the post order, either of it. Yeah, it should work
Yeah.
that way also. Yeah,
Yeah. And
absolutely.
for the looking part, we can use a hash map. So we can store the index of all these elements in a hash map so that we can get that in overfun time.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I never thought it that way. That's a very good thing, because I was always looking at the pre-order and then dividing, because I was looking at the index of the pre-order one by one, and then going and finding that particular value in the post order and then dividing the tree. But the way
Yeah,
you are
that,
doing
that
also
also
works
that
fine.
also works. Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So that is a standard way, right? Everywhere you see that algorithm only.
Yeah,
But if
yeah.
you come up with different way, that also should be fine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cool. But is there any other way other than the recursion?
Stack you can use. I mean, it will be same in recursion
Really?
implicit stack. Two stacks if we use, won't it work?
No, no, yeah, I'm saying that. So for iteration, we'll always have to use a stack, right?
Hmm. I think.
Okay. Yeah, it should be possible if it is a recursion, right? So, but it might be slightly difficult to implement. But everywhere you go, you always see these very standard. Because I think conversion, creating a tree from a pre-order and post-order is not very common. Usually it
Yeah.
is pre-order in order, right?
Post order in order. Yeah, that's right.
And that's slightly easier also. But this is slightly tricky, I think.
Uh,
Yeah, because if you look at your right subtree also, the way you are implementing, you see at the right subtree at the very end,
yeah.
you actually decrement it by one.
Yeah.
You see this?
Nice.
On the I that is the only thing always we do, and if you don't do that, then it doesn't work.
In that case, yeah.
Hmm. I don't know what that
Can
is.
we use the binary search as the pre-order is sorted?
This is not binary search tree. This is normal tree, right?
It's a normal tree.
Yeah.
No,
Binary
it's
tree.
not binary search tree.
It's a normal tree, right? Return a binary tree that matches. Otherwise, it will be easy. If
Okay.
it is binary search tree, we will take in order of this. I mean, sorted will give in order, and once you get pre-order, you divide in order into two halves, left half and right half.
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah. But this one is that's why it's a little bit tricky, I think, because of binary tree. Yeah. So this is same like what we discussed almost, right? I mean, if this is none of the either pre-order, post-order is not there, you return none, or we take first element of the pre-order as a root, and if the length of pre-order is one or post-order is one, then you return the root itself, right? Now, whatever element you have taken in pre-order, we just try to calculate the index of it in the post-order, and depending on that, we just divide. Recursion call will do, right? Roots left will be from 1 to index plus 2, and for post order it will be whatever you have covered here, apart from, I mean, from the beginning till this index will be your post, right?
Mhm.
And here it's the other way around. like this much we have already covered in our post order. So next we'll start from what, idx plus 2 in our pre to the end, and this will be our for the post order one. So this is going up to idx plus 1 because the 2 plus 2 I have taken.
Okay, so IDX will be the index in the post order, right? Okay, and then you are going two more nodes in the pre-order. Okay, you are actually dividing the pre-order only, so you can actually look for the next route, right? Okay, am I audible or Shashank is not audible?
I think Shashank is not.
Oh, okay. Hey, Shashank, you are not audible. He usually has that. Yeah, yeah, he's left. Okay, so in the meantime, he comes back. Okay, let me open that. Okay. So actually, I was doing slightly different. It was, but he was dividing in a different way though. And then first I look for first is what he was explaining. Create a root of whatever is my current index. Okay. Oh no, not this one. I don't want to show this. Yeah, but yeah. So this is one index. What I'm actually okay. So this index actually runs in my pre-order always. So I just pick up whatever that index and create a node, and then I increment that index. And if my left and right they are the same, I just return it, or else I try to find this with the p index. Okay, because I've already incremented. Now moving to the next route in the pre-order, so I just try to find its position in the post order map. Okay, so when I find that index in the map, then I use that index to actually uh, divide my post order, okay, into left and right parts. Okay, so this is the way I actually divide it. So my L will always be the same, and this will be my whatever this index or midpoint what I find in the post order. And then for the right subtree, I actually just increment it to 1, because this whole part will be a part of my left subtree, and the plus 1 actually it should be R, but it has to be R minus 1 in this case. So mid plus 1 into R minus 1 will be a part of the right subtree. So this is the only different thing what you have to do on the right subtree, and rest of the thing it's pretty normal, right, to even understand the way it is, and there's nothing more to it. Either you use a map, or if you don't want to use a map, you can actually just iterate through the whole of the way I'm doing it over here. Iterate through the whole of all the indexes in the post order from L to R, whatever I'm getting from here, right? So this is L to R, and then I try to find this P index or maybe the value of this root in the P order and try to compare that. And as soon as I find this value, I just break. Right? Yeah. Are you back, Shashank?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. You go ahead. Yeah, we lost you. Therefore, I was just going through.
Yeah, I mean, it's almost, I think,
Yeah.
we were
Can you just show yours, because there's slightly difference in that solution, right? Okay, so the way you are looking is pre-order, you are actually starting from your first index till IDX plus 2.
that means, yeah.
Okay.
So that is the last index in our pre-order which we are picking, and from till that point we'll pick it in our post order. Like we are picking up to IDX plus 1, right? So from beginning of the post order till IDX plus 1 we are picking, and now we are starting from IDX plus 2 in our pre-order till the end. Yeah.
So you will always have IDX plus 2 whatever you get that,
Yeah.
and then so you'll only reach from 1 to IDX plus 1 when you are in your
Pre-order.
recursive function. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So one next and starting from there.
Right. So here also you see in your post order, in the right subtree,
Yeah.
the post order, you actually only go to len of the post minus 1. And
Yeah.
yeah, so you are actually creating a list every time, and then you are shortening the list, right? For the
Yeah.
post and pre-order. Uh-huh.
And getting into, I mean, reducing the search space every time, you can say, kind of like.
So you're actually dividing that array or the list and then forming two different arrays or list for the next
Yeah.
level.
Next.
But that is an efficient way of doing, because in C++ they say if you do it, you are actually consuming more space. So I saw some implementation using just the indexes and just playing with the indexes, but they become trickier to play with the indexes. But this is
Slice
more
operation.
easier, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. I think these are the standard ways to implement, right? So that is the only way I can say. Only for this post order, you have to be careful of that -1 at the very end on the right subtree. Rest of it looks very logically correct. And the reason for why we are saying -1, I would say is, because the last index or the last element of the right subtree is always a root, correct?
Yeah.
So we have already taken that, so you should not consider it for the next time. That is the reason actually we are reducing it by 1.
One every time. Yeah.
Yeah.
That particular node. Yeah.
Yeah. That's the only thing comes to my mind. Other than that, but you don't have to do the same thing on your left subtree.
Yeah.
Correct, because then someone will think that way, why are we not reducing an element on the left subtree? But that is not required, because left subtree you are coming from the pre-order side, right? No, not really, but you don't have to divide that, the left subtree, because those will be your indexes.
In that case, yeah.
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 Because I think the way we were dividing in the left subtree, we were taking the root also, correct? When we were when we saw the first example, when we took an index 1, okay, so the whole of the other part was a part of your subtree which is rooted from 1. But then when we wanted to find how do we divide the right and left subtree, in that case what we did was, in the case, okay, can you just go to the description?
Yeah.
Yeah, so in that case, why this is taken -1, that becomes slightly clear. So in this case, if you see 1 in the pre-order, and if you try to find 1 in the post order, it is at the very end, correct? So what you do is, all your elements in the post order to the left of it are a part of a subtree which is rooted at 1, if you just for time being consider that. Now the question remains, how do we divide that into left and right subtree, right? So for that,
Yes.
what you do is, again you go to the pre-order and look for its next root. Okay, so you really don't know whether it's a root of some tree or it is a part of a subtree. Okay, so you know that 2 is the other element after 1. So you go and search in your search space in the post order, and at that time when you are searching, you are only search from 4, right, to this part. So you are excluding this 1 always. So that is what the -1 is for. But then whenever you find a 2 in this case here, right? So what you do is you actually divide this portion. So 4, 5, 2, even if you find 2, So therefore, this becomes a part of your left subtree, right? So you are
Yeah.
including this 2 here. So in this case, if you look at your implementation here, you are not decrementing it, the last element,
Yeah.
because you already have a root also for your part of your left subtree, correct? So therefore, it remains there. But when you come to your right subtree, you always
We,
know that this is a root, which you have
yes,
already
true.
calculated. So
Yeah.
therefore, this is -1 in this case, this -1. So you want to actually remove this one, correct?
Yeah. Because we have taken it in a pre-order as a root, right?
Pre-order the root, yes.
Yeah. That one has been considered at line number 15.
Yes,
Mm.
that is already a part of our root now. So we just dividing it, and therefore we have to be very careful with this two left and right subtrees when we are playing with the indexes. So whenever it is a right subtree, you have to always separate by one, but not for the left subtree. We have to include the root for the next one.
Yeah. Makes sense.
That is the way I would think of, that
Yeah,
work
it will
comes
be
forward.
that route.
Because this is the only trickiest what you say implementation from the conversion or constructing a binary tree from either of the traversal orders, right?
Yeah.
Rest all are at least logically okay the way we think, but for this these are some corner cases you have to be careful.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
So if we don't have any questions, let
Then we can
move to
switch to next.
yeah.
So this is maximum length pair of chain. So we are given n pair of numbers, and in every pair, the first number is always smaller than the second. And now if we define a pair CD such that it will follow A and B pair only if B, this B is less than your C, right? Okay, yeah. So chain of pairs can be formed in this fashion. So we have to find the longest such chain. 1, 2, 2, 3. So here we can see this 2 is less than this 1, 2, and 3, 4. Yeah, okay. So I mean, this 2 is less than this 4, right? This the what is happening? Okay, this 4.
No, I think it is your 1 and 2, the 2 which is the end, okay,
Yeah,
the first, it is lesser than the start of the 3,
4.
4,
Yeah,
right? So that actually 2 is less than 3, and therefore they can become a chain. Because if you have an overlapping like 1, 2, and 2, 3, because they are same, or even if they are less, then we discard the 2, correct?
yeah, yeah.
Therefore you go from 1, 2 to 3, 4. So if you look at the problem statement, it says when you define a pair C and D, it can only follow the pair A and B when B, which is the last part of the first pair, should be lesser than C, which is the first pair of the second pair, first element of the second pair.
Yeah. So it
They,
is like
they cannot be equal.
LCS kind of, yeah.
Sorry.
It's kind of LCS. Is it
LCS, you mean to say the longest common
LIS?
subsequence?
No, LIS, LIS.
LIS, okay. Yeah, some subsequence, right? Yeah.
Because it is checking whether next element in LIS we check, right? Previous element is greater than next, then only we add it depending on whatever.
Yeah. So you can consider that pattern, but
Yeah.
even, well, one thing when I was working on it, they
Yeah.
say, okay, okay, the last statement in this problem statement actually is a more important one. He says you can select pairs in any order.
Oh, yeah.
So if
So
it is a subsequence, the order remains the same, right?
mhm.
So what
If
he says here, you can actually, you can change the order the way you want. So the input array itself you can change. So
okay,
then
then
it is like a subsequence, fine, but we can still change the order.
Order in the sense like at 0 index you can put 3,4 and 1,2 can go to at that place, right? If by doing that we can form the longest chain.
Yeah, yeah. So if we have some chain which actually is not in the right sequence, we can actually change that and put in a right sequence and include that chain also.
Yeah, makes sense.
So in that case, what we would do? So if it's a brute force,
Brute force, then take every pair and check its second number is less than the second number of next, what do you say, nested list. I mean the rule what they are saying, right?
well, yeah. So in the brute force, either, okay, if you don't sort it, I will go and look for the lowest chain, correct?
Yeah.
Lowest pair in the chain, then pick that, and from that again I will start looking in the whole input array, which is the next greater one. Okay, so if I find that, then I will remove, anyway I'll remove the first one. So when I find the next greater one, that also I remove, and then that will be my index, or that will be my search pair for the next search, right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Next one.
yeah. So or else you just sort it and then do that also, right? That will
Yeah.
be
After
sorting in N square.
sorting, we are doing that. What you say? LIS.
Okay, yeah. So if you do sorting, then it becomes more of an alias. So you first sort it, and then you can actually use
Do
your
for
alias implementation.
Yeah.
Absolutely, that should surely work. But now, when you are doing a sorting, so how are you going to sort?
Yeah. So for sort, I'll show you here.
Sure.
So what I'm doing, I'm first sorting it, right?
Mhm.
After sorting, I'm creating one DP array. Like that is what we do in LIS, right? We fill the DP array with completely 111.
Mm-hmm.
And now let's say if your I is at this point, then from beginning to this point, you check
Mm-hmm.
if you satisfy this condition or not, like B is greater than C or not. Like this, the outer for loop will go through all the lengths, initially length 1, length 2, length 3. And for every length, let's say if you are at length 2, from 0 to length 2, it will check whether it is fulfilling this condition or not. I mean, the first element of this is greater than the second element or not. And this also we have to check, because we'll update only if it can form the maximum, right? So previous state is lesser than the next state. By adding one, then only we need to update our next state. Otherwise, that is what we do in LIS, right? We check DP of like if 1, 2, 3, 4 is there, right? Initially you fill everything it with 1. Now since you find that let's say 3 is greater than 2, so you add one value to
Yeah.
whether this is bigger than this, then only you update. So this is what I'm doing at this stage.
Correct. So you're actually on the higher upper for loop, which is from one I to that range n.
1 to n,
So
0 to n,
uh,
and for every 0 the j will run from 0 to that particular index I.
correct, yeah. So you'll go through each and every pair in that 0 to I for the j,
Yeah.
and whichever are lesser than your I, what you are actually comparing with, so you update the DP values.
Yeah.
So you're trying to form the maximum increasing
That-
subsequence, correct?
yeah. Greedy also we could have gone greedy,
But
right?
this actually is a perfect LIS implementation, right? If you do just ignore
Exactly.
the sorting, and this is the basic LIS, right? It's not the log n log n solution.
It
Is
will
this,
be n square.
this will be n square, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is the n square solution along with so okay,
Cache.
so LIS actually always, if we implement using, we can implement within n log n solution, correct?
We have binary search for that LIS also.
Right. So that is a because why we tend to in a subsequence, if you want to find, so we can always have I think I'm not sure of LCS, but for LIS if it's n square, you can still go to n log n. Correct. So therefore,
Yeah.
it can be optimized further but not in other subsequences. I think I'm not sure whether it is applicable for LCS.
No, only in LIS I know. Egg drop. But that's a
Egg
different
drop, it's a different, it's a DP problem, right?
LIS is also DP only.
Yeah, it is DP, but that is slightly different DP, you can say. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
This falls in what is a knapsack LIS one. Not knapsack or something like. If it is value greater than only we take, otherwise we don't take. Like if it satisfies this condition, then only we update our next state.
Mhm.
Otherwise we don't take. If we remove all those pairs, then it becomes complete LIS.
Mhm. Yeah, so most of the time when you are able to convert any of your algorithms to LIS in
Yeah.
a subsequence way, so it is always good because you can actually further optimize it. So that is one thing we have to always remember. So therefore, LIS implementation pattern, if we can implement, that's a good thing, right?
Yeah. You're planning to use binary search here or what?
So that is the way they will use. I've not used it though,
Okay.
but
Should work, I think, right? But how will we compare? Like, because it is a nested list. I mean, two values are there.
well, in this case, because it's a pair, we can use some other trick. Okay, but okay, we can even go further. We can optimize this whole solution, this particular solution. Okay, and I'm actually not focusing on LIS for now,
Okay.
but that is what I was saying. You can again still go ahead and make it a binary search the way we are doing for LIS. I didn't implement that way, but in this, for this implementation, there is one more way we can optimize. Okay, and we can find a solution with n log n only. Okay, so what we can do is we can sort all this pair based on the your end.
Okay.
So because here you are sorting based on your start, right?
Default start. Yeah.
Yeah, that is the default will always be start, right? Because it will always compare with one. But if you do with if you sort it with based on your end, okay,
Okay.
then you can actually uh, do all of this which you are doing on line 6 to 10. Okay, populate the DP array in O of n time, right?
Okay. Yeah.
So it means that the whole algorithm will be n log n because the sorting takes n log n.
Oh, yeah. The top one. Yeah.
Yeah, because if you have sorted all of these in based on your
Ten value.
end times, so
Yeah.
whenever you are at any value, so you can pick up 1 and 2, right? So whenever you compare your start value, right? So you know now your end value is 2 in that case. Then you just have to compare with your start value when you are iterating through the whole array. Okay, and then you see in this second where your 2 of the start of the second pair. Okay, in this case, I'll just annotate. Right, so what you can do is, in this case, now you assume that they are all sorted based on the end. They are eventually correct. So it is what it is.
Yeah.
So you pick up this one. So this will be your starting point. You compare this index with your always assume that you are starting in this list. Now you have a shorter list of excluding this first one. So you compare the start element, which is the 2, with your current this element. So you know that this is not smaller. Had it been 1, sorry, had this been 3, then you could have considered that. So but it is not, then you move to the next one. Okay. So then you move to the next one, and in this case, you actually compare this with the start of the 3 value, right? So then you come here, and then you compare this 3 with this 2. So now you know that this guy is smaller than this 3, so you can include that. But if we had another pair, something like 5 and 6, okay, so if we have something like 5 and 6, so in that case, what we will do is, so this comparison actually will now come over here. So we will actually move ahead, right? So
Yeah.
this is the pair which you'll compare with, and then your next iteration will compare with the start of 5 with 3. Sorry, it will come here. Sorry, with the 4, not this one. So just ignore this. Okay. So you are comparing with 4. So 4 is greater than 5. So you can include this pair also, right?
In assumption. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. So actually that implementation will be done in n log n. N log n being the sorting of the whole array based on the end
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 value.
of the pair, right? Yeah.
And adjacently you will compare. Okay.
Yeah. So you are just comparing with each other every time. Yeah, I
Even you
think.
can do it. Yeah. Let's go through that first. I was thinking like graph can be used or what, and then topological sort.
No, I never thought of that way, but that will be a good way of. I think I went in one of these implementations only. It's not of my
Yeah.
own though, but I like the way they are doing it. Okay, so this is the sorting. So for sorting, this is the comparator. So I'm just sorting it based on these end whatever you
Values.
can, yeah, end values of that pair. Okay, so just looking for pure and then I return true, and then just using that comparator in my sort function. So if you look at this one now, my initially my end is at minimum int minimum value. Then I go through this whole array, and every time when I compare this value with my start value of the next pair, right in the year. So when I compare the start value of the next pair, because 0 is the start value of the next pair, right?
Yeah.
If I find that, I increment my answer and also update my end of the pre which you want to compare for the next one. So this time actually I'm updating with the same pairs but the end value. Correct.
Yeah.
And if
So
I come here again, keep on adding that answer. Yeah. Go ahead.
you are following the merge interval process, kind of, right? I mean, not exactly, somewhat maintaining the previous end value, end
You
of
can
brev.
say that. Yeah.
Kind of.
When you do a merging, you look for, yeah, it is a merge interval issue problem, right? Mm. Yeah, that's a good thing. Mm. Yeah, but now it becomes very easy. Only thing is this is the n log n solution. Because of
Yeah.
this, it's an n log n solution, right?
Yeah.
I'm not able to recollect the n log n solution of our LIS. Do you know how that is actually? Maybe we'll discuss that later. No issues.
They were taking the element and then based on binary search, they were searching whether that element is greater than,
Okay.
what to say,
So
the
they are
newer element
using the lower bound or upper bound. Huh? Okay.
found something like that. Yeah.
Mhm.
I'm also not sure.
Okay.
Kind of. Yeah. Yeah, we can
Oh
go
yes,
to next.
someone was saying, can we write an example test case and go through the code? Do we want to do that? Sam was saying.
Yeah, sure. Like, what is that?
Okay, so but then okay, no problem. So let's go through that quickly. So he is saying that can you show this implementation, how it works using a test case? Can we write a test case? Yeah, good. Sure.
Regarding my implementation.
Hey, anything, I think should be fine.
Okay.
As long as
So
we
what?
are able to come up with an answer. So maybe in this case, we add one more element. Maybe we make it 5, 6 as another element, you know.
Okay.
So if we do that, then we can actually go through it, right? But we did that almost already, right? Yeah,
Yeah, it will be same only, right? Only a
yeah,
DP array I'll be updating.
correct. Yeah.
Mm.
Is that okay, Sam? Uh, Actually, he wrote in the message to me.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. I think he understood. Okay.
Yeah,
No
sure.
issue. Let's move to the next one if you
So,
don't have questions.
so this is like remove the element. We are given array nums and a value, and you have to remove all the instances in place and return the new length. Extra memory, do not allocate extra space, and try to do it by modifying the input array in place. Order of elements can be changed, and it doesn't matter whether you leave beyond the new length. And this is they are taking like how they are internally evaluating it. Why return value is an integer, but your answer is an array. input array is passed by reference, which means a modification to input array will be known to the caller as well. So their internal process they're explaining.
Yeah.
So your val is 3, so we have to remove all those duplicates, right?
Mhm.
And just to return how many, like other than those instances, the remaining instances number you have to return, and automatically they'll follow this one, and then out of that they'll generate the array out of that.
So the output is a size. Is it?
Output is exactly.
Okay. Okay. And
This
then he's
question
talking
is
about the reference. Yeah, go ahead.
this question is same like moving all the zeros to the right.
And ones
Question
to
is
the left.
there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yes.
Many
only
questions
output.
will find odd and even also. They will give you number odd and even, and will try to move odd on one side, even on one side. So this is a very important question. I mean, this concept.
Yeah, very, very important. I took 2 approaches to it, but yeah, I like this question. Doing it, it was fun.
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead. Like what were they?
So first approach is 2-pointer solution, right? So I believe, let me see, same. Yours and mine is very same. So basically on that, your approach and my approach on that for 2-pointer solution, what we're actually doing is we're copying the elements that are not equal to the values, right? So if you scroll up,
This way?
yeah. So if you look at that first example, 3, 2, 2, 3, our value is 3, right? So we need to remove 3. How many 3 we have in that norms array? We have 2, 3. So what we'll do is we'll 2-pointer, that means we'll have, so I named it slow pointer, slow runner, and fast runner, right? Initially, they're both pointing at the index 0, 3. Now, if fast runner moves, if fast runner is equals to value, so if fast runner is actually 3, then no, if fast runner is not equals to value, sorry, so if fast runner is not equals to 3, then copy the element from slow runner to the fast runner, right? So what's happening is, so my fast runner is initially pointing at 3, right? So it doesn't goes in the if condition. My if condition will say fast runner is not equal to value, and then when he hits the 2, that's when it reaches the if condition. And if it's not equal to value, then what it does is it copies that. Now my slow runner is still pointing at index 0, right? So it's going to copy the stuff from the fast runner to the slow runner, and then slow runner moves. It's going to keep doing that until it reaches the end of the array. At that point, we would have already copied all the elements that are not equal to the values, right? And whatever number we copy, we return that number, and that's going to be the output. Same approach as yours in Python. Yeah.
So yeah, so it's like same what you are saying.
Mm-hmm.
So actually we maintain a J pointer. I'm maintaining, right?
Yep.
Like
That J is my slow pointer in this case.
slow
Yeah.
pointer. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So you take every number, you compare. If this is not equal to 3, then
Mm-hmm.
at J initially my J is equal to 0, right?
Right.
Since it is equal to that, so I won't be moving my J pointer. I'll move this to, I'll go to next pointer. Now
Right.
2 is not equal to 3, so at you'll put at 0th position and J will increment it to 1. Now it is also not same. It will move here and it will increment it to 2. And now this is greater than, I mean, not equal to, it's equal to value. So just to return by this time the length of J will be 2, and that will return.
Right. So but there is a disadvantage of this approach, right? So if you notice on this approach, what we're actually doing is we're copying all the elements that are not equal to the values, right? Let's say what if we have an array of something like 1, 2, 3, 5, 4. Basically the array, the thing that I'm element that I wanted to remove is all the way at the end of the array. That means we're making unnecessary copy operation for the first elements, right? Because if you look at our solution, right, we're copying everything. But if we just need to remove 1, why we're copying everything, right? So so there's another approach too that's more effective than this. That's using a while loop. Yeah.
Oh, let's share the screen. I think yours, it will be better.
Okay. Yeah. I'll share you the other solution.
Go ahead.
So let me so this solution, what it does is, I like this solution, right? All right. So this is still, it's just more, I would say, efficient two-pointer solution, but we have fewer elements to remove, right? So what happens is now on our above algorithm, I'll actually take this algorithm too, just so we can compare. We'll compare side by side,
Here also you are copying, right?
Yeah, here also you are doing the same thing.
Yeah, but here I'll explain. So here,
Okay.
what we're doing, we're just copying it at a slow pointer. We're copying everything. Like, okay, if it's not equals to value, okay, copy this to here, copy this to here, move 3 and then the back. We're copying, right? But here, what we're actually doing is, um, so we'll have two pointer, right? First pointer will be at index 0. The last pointer would have the index, in this case 0, 1, 2, 3, index 3. Now, while basically left is less than right, we're swapping, right? We'll swap the current element with the last element. So in this case, what happens is we will swap 3 by 3, right? Now, if you notice, the element that we swap, it's still the same element, right? So, but the other case we're doing is as soon as we swapped, we were also decrementing our n minus 1. So next time it doesn't look at this. Next time it only looks up to this far, right? So on this first iteration on this while loop, it'll be the last element swapped could be the value we want to remove. So in this case, it is, right? And since we didn't increment the I, my I is still pointing at index 0. After the swap, it'll still be, after that first while loop, it'll still be this, right? Now, but the only difference is n will actually be size of 3. So like this far, because we decremented our n minus 1 and minus minus. Right? On our next iteration, now it'll loop again. On our next iteration, what happens is now this 2 right here, it's going to get swapped with this. So it'll actually be, let me write it down.
2, 2, 3, 3. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. 2, 2, 3, 3. Right. So now what's our n's going to be? N's going to be this, a size of 2, index 0, 1, right? So basically what we're saying is n is basically the count of how many nums dot length minus how many elements we removed so far. How many elements did we remove? We removed this, we removed this. So n nums dot length minus how many elements we removed, 2, gives us 2. So the number of operation is actually equal to the number of elements we want to remove. This trick is really helpful on this example. So in this array, let's say our array is 1, 2, right, 3, 5, 4, right? I'll make this an array. And let's say I only wanted to remove 4. Then if we had used this approach, what would we have done? We would have copied everything here to here, here to here, here to here, just to get number 4, But using this trick, we only do, one operation and we'll remove this, So yeah, a little bit of efficient approach, but this trick, I really like this trick. Very, 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 yeah.
Well,
If you
okay. If you
one,
actually walk through for the last case, what you said, okay. So in this, what you are doing, you are keeping your val will be, what is the val going to be? 4 in that
4.
case, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So when you start with the 0, I equals 0, you look if that val 1 is equal to 4. So it is not. So you're just incrementing your I, right? Then you keep on incrementing. So at the end, when you see 4, so then you don't do anything. You don't increment your I, and then you just return your n, because your n will always be the length.
Right. So n
You
is
will come to
basically
n. Okay, here you are actually decrementing n.
count of how many nums at length minus how many elements we removed so far. So it actually depends on the, so that basically it's a number of operations. It's reducing, right? It's whatever, how many, however numbers. So in this case, 3, how many 3 that we need to remove? 1 3 and 2 3, and that's the number of operation. Yeah.
So unnecessary elements is putting at the back.
Yeah.
And then if you have to remove 1 in 5, line 5, if you have to remove 1, then
Yeah, if you have to remove 1, then actually you all do the same thing.
yeah, worst
1.
case.
Yeah, because you still have to shift, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
No, I'm just
No,
thinking loud.
it
So
should be
if
right.
you 1, you
On
put
this.
that to the end, then you come to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so then it will be only one copy.
Swap. Yeah. Swapping is avoid. I mean, preserve. Here, optimize.
Optimize,
Yeah,
a little bit more
it's just
optimized.
okay. But what happens if you go to the second approach that you're showing?
This same approach as Shashank, we're copying it, right? So if in this case, what happens is,
But you copy only when the value is not the same. Okay.
yeah. So both of them points here, first case, and if fast runner is not equal to the value, so when fast runner reaches here, it's going to copy slow pointer. It's going to copy 2 to here, similar, and then it points slow runner to here. And then it does the same thing, copies this to here.
Okay.
So it just doing a lot of copying,
Yeah, that's true.
until it reaches the end of the array. Yeah. And then we're just returning the slow pointer. Yeah.
Yeah. So that is the only one difference. Where in the second approach it copies. Okay. Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So that's how this happened. All right. I'm gonna stop my share then.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Yeah, Abhishek wanted to say something.
No, my approach was similar to the second one.
Okay.
Slow and faster, right?
Yes, the order was preserved in that approach.
Yeah. So okay. So in the second approach, what Shuffle was showing, will the order be preserved? Is
Yeah,
it?
that won't be right because
I am not
yeah,
sure actually. Both of
Order,
them,
you mean like because
2 should come.
order
Right.
won't be. Here the order is going to be messed up any way you do it, right?
yeah, order
But
is going to be messed up. Yeah.
no, order will be preserved in this case, the one which I include. But the second approach which Shuffle was showing, order won't be preserved because you're
Really? Okay.
pushing all the elements to the. Let's take example only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? 4 you have to do. 1. No, what it was? Sorry.
Okay.
3.
Let me give you an example, a different example. Can you write in the console instead of just type here?
Okay.
Yeah. So we just quickly run that. In the test
By
case,
the
you'll have to
console.
run it.
Okay.
Yeah. So if you don't mind, please. Yeah. Okay. So you write your array like if instead of just remove all the 3, 3 2 3 everything. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. 3 2. Yeah. Then you write 1. Yeah. After 3. 1 2 6 9 5 1 3. 1 2 6 9 5 1 3. And then you are removing 3. Yeah. Let's see what it says.
I'll have to print it, right? Okay. It will
Oh,
show.
it's just on the output.
In
Yeah.
this case, the order will be preserved.
Let's check.
Mine will be in mine case order will be preserved.
So 1 2 6 9 5 1. The order remains the same. Okay. So we have one solution where the order is preserved.
That's good. How
Let's
did you
see
do it?
what-
Yeah, let's see. I wasn't paying attention.
So yeah, because no, what happened?
Oops.
Shashank?
No, I thought in his test is okay.
No, that is fine. So the way you are doing, the order is preserved, but okay. Can you just go to the implementation again, please?
Sure. Yeah.
So it is swapping only when it encounters a value
Not-
equal to the desired value.
Mm-hmm. But
and
was it not
shifts
Shuffle
all
also
the,
doing the same thing for the first approach?
yes, his second approach was similar to this one.
Mine approach, but second approach, I don't think so. It will preserve the order, the one which he was showing you n minus minus using.
Yeah, mine doesn't
Yes,
preserve the order. Yeah.
Yeah.
it just reverses the almost some of the elements will be reversed in the array.
Reverse, yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it
Because
will reverse it.
because I
that
think Shashank is starting both of the pointers from the 0th index, correct?
starting.
So that is the reason actually he preserves order. If you start one pointer from the beginning and the other from the end, then the order won't be preserved, right?
In the, yeah.
Yes.
No, but my slow runner and fast runner, it was pointing at beginning too. It was pointing at
Okay.
index 0 at first.
Okay, so that was the second approach in your case, Shuffle, right?
Right, right.
Yeah.
So in that
Yes,
case, you are actually not having this not equal to val, right? It was equal to val.
It was
Correct.
the fast runner was not equal to val. So on.
Can we quickly see that, if you don't mind?
Yeah.
yes, his second approach was similar. The first approach, in his first approach, it will not be
Order.
Yeah,
preserved.
first also will definitely not be.
Because, okay, see,
And
here
the second
also,
solution is just same.
yeah. So see, in the second solution, he's saying if his num's first runner is not equal to value. So when we do that, it means then only the order will be preserved. Correct. So when we want to actually copy the values only when our target, if the array's current value is not equal to the target value. So if we do that, at that time only the order is preserved, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And also you have to start both of them from the beginning only. You cannot have one beginning and one end.
When you say beginning, like this is at the beginning.
Yeah, both of them are beginning. So here the order will be preserved, but in the next, with the above one, what you have, so
Right,
you actually have one starting from the left and other starting from the right.
right,
And,
right,
Yeah.
right.
So when you do it, the two pointer approach at the left and right end, and then you swap it, because then you will have to swap with looking at the value equals to the target value, right? Yeah.
Right, right. So when you say order was not preserved, you're saying uh,
After
so
removing three, the array, if the array looks like
this
ABCD,
side.
then the answer should also look like ABCD.
Yeah. So what you are doing? 4 you are moving this side, and 2 and all the 3 you are moving this side, right? So
Mhm.
in your earlier array, the 4 comes after 2, but in your resultant array,
4 will be 4 2. So that actually is swapped order, right?
yeah. So you are truncating this part unnecessary.
Right, right.
For the
But,
scope of this question, it is good. It is both solutions will work. But if we implement either of it, the interviewer will surely actually say, okay, if your order is maintained, it's not maintained, then you'll say how will you make it
Yeah.
maintainable, right? Yeah.
we have that problem also, I think, in this.
Yes,
Okay.
the move zeros question is same.
Okay.
There we need to preserve the order.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, yeah. And even other application is this. They'll give you numbers like this. What you say? Array of numbers they'll give you like 8, 7, 6, and they'll ask you to put odd elements on this side and even elements on this side. So you can first divide the number by 2 and convert it into zeros and ones, and then just play this algorithm to push zeros to the end and or one. Like if you push all the zeros to the beginning, you already know the length of the array, so remaining will be on the left.
Yeah. That's good. So the things to remember is we have to be very sure where our both pointers are going to start. Okay. And also the value what we are comparing with the target, whether we want to move it, whether the target is equal or target is not equal. So if we actually focus on these two conditions, then we can achieve any of these, either with order or without order, right?
Mm.
Okay, that's good.
Okay.
Abhishek has said that.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, that's good one. Thanks, Abhishek. Yeah. So, okay. So tomorrow, Abhishek, sorry, not tomorrow, Sunday, Abhishek, Safal, and Ajay. Okay, I'll just close the recording if you don't have any questions.
Very nice
Okay.
topic.
Yeah. So, yeah.